right. I'm joined by a special guest today out of North Carolina. He has over 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. He's worked with all your favorite artists. He's been on tour all across the country. He's been on billboards. He's got his own drink. And he's here with you today. The man himself came from space, MoonLander. He's here
Oh
and he's
man,
gonna he's
man,
gonna
man.
get started sharing a little bit about how he first got into music.
Before we get started, Batman, I gotta know why the Batman? Why?
Why the Batman mask? So when I started this podcast, I was in grad school and I didn't know anything about making content or anything, and
Okay.
I didn't know where the interviews were gonna go, so I thought it was best to keep my face off camera. And I also thought, as far as working with artists, like my whole goal with this was to really like push independent artists brands and stuff. And I thought if I took my face out of it, it was kind of like, hey, I'm not trying to do this so that I get like popular and stuff. Like I don't care if people who know who I am, but I have this mask here to kind of like represent a brand for like independent artists. So that was the
I
thought
like that.
process
I
with
had
it.
to ask. That was the first thing I had to
Yeah.
ask. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and I
unique.
happen to have a
It
mask
definitely,
just laying around. So no.
it's definitely unique. It's one of a kind. So that's dope.
Yeah, I think anything you do online, you kind of need your own thing, whatever it is. Like
Yeah, you do.
I think you've kind of adopted this too with your Moonlander brand, where you have these space jumpsuits now, which I don't know when that started, but I think it's an identification factor where someone
Had to
sees you
wear
in
them.
it. Yeah,
I need to do.
it
I
kind of
need to
adds
be
to the brand.
better. I need to be better about like wearing them. Like I should just wear them all the time in every video. I just need to do that, but I need to be better about it. I told myself I would, so I actually like the last video I've been doing. I put it on, so it's like maybe today was like the deciding factor for me.
And it's hard sometimes too, because sometimes you have like an itch to make a video, and you like
Yeah,
didn't plan on making a video that day, and you don't, it's like, where's my super suit? It's back at
yeah.
home, but I want to
Where's it
make the
at?
video now.
Hey, I don't got a boo to get it for me like Frozone
Yeah,
did, man. But
yeah.
that's
All right,
sick.
so let's jump into it. What was the start of you first making music like?
Yo, what up, y'all? My name's Moonlander. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born here, grew up here. Um, Started making music when I was 13, and basically like my whole life like I just like loved music. I'm sure like a lot of people do, but I remember I was like so like specific about like I would download all my songs like off LimeWire and stuff, and I'd had to get the cover arts, like had to have like I would search on like my family computer, the big block computer you used to have, would like Google search like cover arts and stuff, and I just always had music. And there's like it's funny, like I'm sure you can relate to, like there's certain like points in your life like you shouldn't remember but like you just do. And I remember one time like I was singing, like I would always like use my mom's shower to shower when I was younger, because like obviously she had the master, it was like a big shower. So I remember one time I was like singing in there and she was like, "You sound good, honey." And I'm like, "No, I don't. Like, why are you lying?" But at the time I was like, "You really think that, mom?" She's like, "Uh-huh." So I used to be like in the school, and not the school, in like the church choir and stuff. And to be honest, I was like not into it. I was like, "This sucks, man." But I remember my boy in the eighth grade, my boy came over. We were just like friends. I just had moved to a new school, so I had these new friends. And at my pops' crib, like it was like a two-bedroom house, but the top had like a basement room, almost like like a big room, right? So I got to make that my room. So like all obviously us as like eighth graders, like everyone wanted to come over to my crib because it's like we had like a little like pad we could hang out in and stuff. And one of my friends, he was already making music at the time, like in eighth grade, which was super rare because like in eighth grade no one made music. It wasn't as like accessible to do. So I remember he like dropped like Asher Roth, I Hate College. He dropped a remix of like I Hate Middle School, and I remember being like, he is so cool. I was like, that is just so cool. Like, and I remember it was like people talk like in middle school, people were like, love the song, like people he's like appreciate you. That's when like Bandcamp was a thing in MySpace, so like you could put it on your MySpace. And he came over one day and he like brought his mic. He's like, "Y'all trying to make a song?" And it was like me and my other friend, and I was like, we were like, "Hell yeah!" And so like we did a remix to one of Kanye's songs, and I remember I just like rapped, and it was like super like little boy, white boy, like sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, like spitting bars I should never spit, like just really like cringy stuff, you know. But I was like, man, I love this. Like it just felt like electrifying, and I was like, bro, I'm about to lock in on this. So like I asked my pops for like Christmas. He got me like I think like a $60 mic, and I recorded on a program called Audacity, which was like how you recorded, I guess, back in the day. Super like it's like Windows Paint for music, like super bad. And I remember I just like really locked in, like real quick. I was like, this me. I went by the name Lil Pickles because my real name's Dylan. So I was like, gotta have Lil in front of your name to be a rapper. So I was like, I'm Lil Pickles. And like obviously like even just saying that people are gonna make fun of you, or like if I was Lil Pickles now, people would be like, what? But so I remember like real early on, like I was locked in. And I started getting like hate like just off the jump. Cause I mean it was bad, you know what I'm saying? But like at that moment in time, I thought it was the best shit ever. I was like, this shit is so fucking dope. Like, but really, like, if I played it, it's just so bad. But I remember, like, early on, I was already getting so much hate. So I was like, bro, I gotta change the name, like, Lil Pickles. Like, I thought that was the reason I was getting hate. I'm like, I gotta change the name. Like, that ain't it. So I was, like, obsessed with Kid Cudi at the time. And obviously, like, Man on the Moon and stuff like that. But in the eighth grade we had to watch they made you have like a robot baby for the weekend, so you had to like carry around like a robot baby and it would like cry and shit, and you'd have to be like 5 in the morning, be like "Ah," and you just like you're like an eighth grader just like holding the baby in like the dark, you're like patting it like
That's
please
traumatic in
it's,
eighth grade.
yeah, for real, like they're trying to get you to like you don't want this and I'm
You
like
don't
I
want this.
don't.
Don't have kids
Yeah.
now. Wait on this one.
So I remember I wanted my baby to have like a funny ass name, so I looked up like one day in class. I remember the classroom. I remember the day. Like I just looked up worst baby names because I was like, I'm gonna get something real funny. And my middle name's Houston, so like everyone would always be like, Houston, we have a problem. Like that's like everyone just called me like Houston back in the day. So I just saw like Moonlander on the worst baby names, and I was like, that's it. I was like, that's the one right there. I remember like I had a rap that like in the rap I remember I was like, it's Picklez. Oh wait, that is no longer me. And then I like was like, I said something stupid like, I'm not something standard. My new name is Moonlander, and it was like boom, 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 boom. Like I had like those sound effects. It was like super cringe, but that's how I came out with Moonlander. And then, man, I just locked in. Like I've always been locked in. Like I knew, like from the moment I started getting like so much hate. I remember I was on like a mission trip when I was like 13. I remember we were like staying at this like Mexican church, like on the ground, like sleeping bags on the ground, like bugs and shit everywhere. And like there were these girls in there, like I was trying to impress them. I'm like, what y'all think about this? Like showing them my music and stuff. And they're like dead ass just laughing at it. I'm like, ah shit. So I remember like we had a little like powwow, whatever, you know, like some church shit, and they're like, "Man, everyone go be by yourself with God, like close your eyes and shit." And I remember just like being like hurt from like those girls like fucking hating on me. I was like, "Fuck them," and closed my eyes and like I like legit like teleported out of my body, like went to like a place where like it was like the most beautiful auditorium, like warm lights were everywhere, and like there's no music, like there was no one in the crowd, and it was just like me on stage. Like it was almost like I was behind myself watching myself like just like jump up and down on stage, like had a mic, just like loved it. Like I was just loving it, right? And like I like it felt like 10 seconds went by and like 30 minutes went by, you know what I'm saying? Like a true like I've never, anytime I've been drunk, anytime I've been off the land of lemonades, I never like I've never been like experience like an out of body thing. Like I was 13, like I wasn't on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like I legit like teleported, and I was like, it was like really at that moment I was like, bro, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, fuck. Like, and like, I was like, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. So like.